You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where today's debate will be about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Is it finally time for the old man to call it curtains? I don't know. We'll be discussing it. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Ross Legg. How you doing, Ross?
All right, thank you, mate. It's always nice to see CSK lose, and people can turn around and say it's not Gaikwod's fault, it's not Dhoni's fault. The universe is just against them.
Yep, as it has been over the whole 18 years of the IPL, I would say it's rare if you look back over those 18 years to see any occasions when they've got the rub of the green or, been banned for match fixing and then come straight back into the tournament and won it straight away, for example. And we got Max O'Brown. Max, how are you doing?
Hello, yeah, very good. Enjoying a nice sunny evening in England, where we're all inside recording a podcast instead. That's a shame.
I'll tell you one good thing
about
the
fans, mate.
I'll tell you one good thing about an absolute walloping. Like, it does mean time off from a podcast point of view. We should be able to get through today's game and the two games from earlier in this week. No problemo. So silver linings, silver linings.
Not to make it sound too much like we don't enjoy doing this, because obviously we do and we love it.
Well, if you don't, people weren't thinking that till you said that, Max, were they?
Well, maybe they were.
This just sounds like
menu.
This sounds like a bitter CSK fan, Jack, to me. That's what Max is sounding like.
Yeah.
I don't support CSK anymore.
All right. Who do you support?
I'm Punjab, baby. Comedy Kings all the way.
I've got some bad news for you.
King for another.
Look, here's what we're talking about. Chennai Super Kings v KKR, Royal Challengers Bengaluru v Delhi Capitals, and Gujarat Titans v Rajasthan Royals. We're starting to see a little bit of separation between the bad boys. And by bad boys, I don't mean like Rebel Without a Cause bad boys. I mean like bad at cricket boys and the good boys. And obviously,
the buttercream splitting.
I don't mean. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Before we get going, a reminder: you can find us at the Cricket Pod, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You can support the podcast by clicking subscribe on whichever platform you're listening on. And if you really like our stuff, why don't you become a Patreon? Patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. I said on the last show when we had Dan on, we're going to do a league ranking show with Dan. We're Team Vibes, so we've got to come up with our league ranking of T20 leagues based on our vibes, like whether we like them or not. And then Dan is going to give us an official ranking alongside, and we'll see who wins out. It's not really a competition. We'll see who's top.
It's always a competition.
Max, Chennai v the Kolkata Knight Riders. What happened?
Oh, well, it's a painful one, this one, isn't it? Chennai, firstly, the news, Gaikwad out, Mahendra Singh Dhoni captaining the boys in yellow once again, and maybe that could herald a fantastic turnaround. The comeback of all comebacks for CSK having been pretty darn bad in the last few games. As it happened, that couldn't have been further from the truth. Chennai winning the toss, batting first, Moeen Ali tying up Devon Conway, removing Rachin Ravindra. Then it was over to Chakravarti and Sunil Narine to tie things down, and wickets fell, no runs were scored. It was absolutely disastrous. Deepak Hooda came in as an emergency impact sub. We were talking about doing a little watch on poor impact sub performances, weren't we, the other day? Well, Deepak Hooda right up there, 0 off 4. And they limped with half a leg to 103 for 9, CSK. And, KKR made short work of it, as you would expect. It was a crushing defeat. Chennai got the Chiporking of all Chiporkings. And the only silver lining for CSK is that they are top of the table that matters, which is the Wonder Cement Fair Play Award. They are out on top.
That is what matters.
The points, they're probably going to be helped by some more points today from some real fair play from Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who after reviewing an leg before wicket and a spike showing up when the ball was next to the bat and still being given out, very calmly walking off the pitch and not complaining to anyone. That's more fair play points in the bag, and that's got to be some sort of silverware for CSK at the end of the season, because it's that or the wooden spoon.
To be fair, Max, he had been batting for 4 balls at that point, so he probably needed to go and sit down, didn't he?
Ice his knees.
There is. Do you know what this reminds me of? There's in the village cricket that we play. There's a team we play every year, and they're West Indian, and they've got a fan who comes along, and he watches in his mobility scooter. And when the other team are batting, when one of their players hits a ball for 4 and he doesn't think the ball's very good, he shouts, "Put the rubbish in the bin." And I think we saw the professional cricket equivalent of that today from KKR towards Chennai Super Kings. Put the rubbish in the bin. KKR have done the job. They've made the IPL a little bit tidier with some cricketing litter picking, I would say. Ross, what are your thoughts?
They've lost 5 in a row, CSK. Like,
that's analysis.
Is that happened before in the history of the IPL? CSK losing 5 in a row. Like, I'd be very surprised if it actually has. They are dreadful. Like, watching it today, it was like watching park cricket. Like, the dismissals were an abomination. And what is interesting is that they've turned around, and Stephen Fleming said it a couple of games ago. Oh yeah, the cheap orc. Like, we just don't know what we're getting. It's very different to what it used to be, etc. Bollocks. Absolute bollocks.
It was bang on today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an absolute Bunsen, and they got ripped through. And they've only got themselves to blame. Yes, Gaikwad's gone out with an injury, and that is unfortunate. But you can't build a IPL team off the back of Tripathi, Deepak Hooda, and Vijay Shankar. That is an unbelievably poor middle order. When you've then got a 75-year-old wicketkeeper who has to come and save the day. I just find it all a bit strange. Ravindra and Conway really not. Well, their form has tanked, and it's a bit of a disaster. The worst thing is, it could have been much worse for CSK as well. There was 2 drops. One was classic Sunil Narine, just not moving and then getting a hand on it and just going down. And then Venki Iyer, the second most expensive player in the IPL, literally had a dolly. Literally, it came off the bat, literally went about 10 yards. And he said that he couldn't see from the floodlight, and he literally almost got hit in the face with it. It was pathetic. And yet, CSK have steamrolled to victory. Max, great to see Moeen Ali doing well.
Good. Yeah, Moeen Ali back at the Chapok, a man let go by CSK, coming back to haunt them. There's there's narrative fun there. It was a perfect day for bowling Moeen, wasn't it? I think you probably have to give KKR a bit of credit. Like, the 3 main people that you need to get out in the CSK lineup without Gaikwad: Ravindra, Conway, Shivam Dubey. And maybe the off-spinning matchup to Shivam Dubey might not be the best because he likes hitting spin, but the spinner coming in on a stodgy wicket, 2 left-handed openers opening the bowling, it worked. It was a plan and it worked perfectly. There were a couple of other moments that people picked up on sort of Rahane bringing in the matchups. I think like Dhoni being one. I think by that point, kind of irrelevant. You could do whatever the hell you like. The game was over. But Moeen Ali coming in for this game in this particular situation, it was a really good call and fair play. Paid off.
And Max, you're a big Surrey fan, as we well know. Jamie Overton and Sam Curran both on the bench, and then they go to, quite possibly, I think, is a good candidate for one of the worst players in IPL history as the impact sub. Are you a bit surprised at that?
It was pretty baffling, wasn't it? Like, you've got Patirana obviously was the plan, right? Patirana is the man that they were going to bring off the bench. He's your guy. He can't bat for shit, so they needed a bit of extra ballast in there. And yeah, they had 2 guys who can bat a bit, quite well sometimes, and bowl, and didn't bother with either of them. So ended up with 3 overseas players. Deepak Hooda coming in with a duck. But mind-boggling. Like, and it's a sign of when things aren't going very well, isn't it? When you don't know what your best team is, you keep changing things around. But it can't be hard, can it, to look at a list of names and go, nah, not that guy. He's not as good as these other guys that we could use.
Can we just back this up with some statistics? So in 2021, Deepak Hooda played 12 matches in the IPL, averaged 16. 2022, good season for Hooda, averaged
That was his fraud
32.
season, wasn't it?
Yeah, averaged 32 at a strike rate of 136. You're like, okay, there's a player here. 2023 averaged 7.64 with the strike rate of 93. Last year he averaged 18, and this year he's averaging 2.3.
Good. Trending.
One of the maddest. One of the maddest Hooter stats is that he's got an international century. I think. Like, how did that get in the India team?
Is that against
For
Mongolia
India?
in one of those weird cups?
No, I think it was against Ireland. He got runs against England in a match as well, or wickets against England or something like that. On the last show, it was just after a CSK game as well. Dan and I went through the whole CSK team, and Dan was like, "Here's how they could maybe salvage things." It was mainly stuff about
the answer Anshul Kambosh. Was that his answer?
Well, he didn't really like the answers. Not necessarily there, to be honest. He thinks they need to find a way to get Overton in because their middle order is absolutely diabolical, and he can actually hit the ball. Gurchapneet Singh, who we talked a lot about in the preview, left arm swing bowler. He was a solution to their power play being rubbish. I mean, that didn't really matter today, did it? When you're defending 100, so that
yes,
make a difference. Neither of them selected. And then Shaikh Rashid was the other one, who's a young batter who could maybe have come in to provide a little bit more dynamism, but they didn't do any of that. In fact, they actually sort of doubled down on old man team.
God, yeah.
BJ Shankar, he comes up the order. He's batting 4 in this game after his incredible match losing innings in the last match. Tripathi back in the side, nerdling around 16 of 22. That's no good. And Ashwin, I wondered whether they might do something like this. Ashwin batting above Jadeja for some reason. Well, I mean, look, maybe it was he didn't actually get a run, so maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this is
better than the next two.
Time. Look at these data idiots. Ravichandran Ashwin 1 run, Jadeja 0 runs. Like how could you be saying it was a mistake? No, like they just did everything. It's like they heard what Dan said, and then just were like, okay, well let's just do the total opposite of that and see what happens. Shambolic.
It's really
they're a team that have rarely been shambolic in cricket. Almost all the teams, it doesn't matter, international level, franchise level, below franchise level. Most teams, it's 50% shambles minimum. If you've got a lower than 50% shambles ratio, you're basically New Zealand. And CSK were kind of in that pot, and now I don't really know what to think.
Even their Kiwis are shitting the bed. Yeah. No, it's really frustrating. Like, as you know, as a CSK fan, to watch it all unfold. And like, well, when I was doing the preview, and I think one of the issues that I picked up on was going to be the power play bowling, and that has been a bit of a problem. Apart from Khalil Ahmed, everyone else has gone about 12.5 and over in the power play. But the batting, I thought, would be like stable. It's not going to pull up any trees, but it would be fairly solid. But that was assuming, at least, that they were going to be opening with Gaikwad and Ravindra or Conway, which is like the staple of how CSK have been solid in the last few years. Gaikwad opening, scoring piles of runs, inexplicably started batting him at 3 with Tripathi opening the batting, so robbed them of any good start that is so important in the power play at the Chapok. And then we were like, Rahane gone and Ryder's retired, and they've basically been replaced by Vijay Shankar and Deepak Hooda, who turns out are a lot worse. And Shivam Dubé's not done what they need him to do, and that's basically just left them with absolutely nothing with the bat. It's been a total disaster. And then on top of that, you're not even picking people who could help out. I think it is time to give up on the season and try some of the young blood, see if they can unearth some talent that they picked up on the cheap, and build towards next season, because it's done, isn't it? This is it, finished.
I think it's done. Ross, Dhoni captain today.
Bad job.
What he'd wanted.
He did a bad job as well.
Should he retire?
No, he should just play forever.
Retirement.
I want him. Like, I would like to see him like still wicket keeping when he's like 60.
He'll be the first part robot, part human cricketer.
I think I'd never retire. Never retire. I think like constantly just there. He still looks all right with the gloves, to be fair. But he's
As long
not
as he doesn't have
quite
to
at
bend
the
down.
races. What I've had to say, but normally Mahendra Singh Dhoni is this all-seeing, all-conquering captain. Yet today, look, all the evidence was there that the pitch is probably quite suited for spin bowling. And when you've got the purple cap holder in Noor Ahmed, you think he might bowl him before, was it the 7th over that he bowled it? And you're a bit just like,
Yeah, it was.
why is he not bowling beforehand? Why are you not trying to risk something happening early on, get in amongst KKR and see if they panic? I know 100 runs is probably never going to be too much. It's never going to be defendable, but you could at least try
You've got
something a
that run
little
rate to
bit
think
different.
about if you harbour any hopes of doing something, haven't you?
Yeah, and the other question, or the other observation is, Max, your prediction for MVP. Just a watch today on MVP. Watches Ravi Jadeja. He got a second ball duck, just flailing at one outside off stump for
One
no
game,
reason.
mate. One game. One game. Don't read
And
into it.
then he bowled one delivery in this game for 9 runs.
Yeah, and now, like, how many people can do that? Just think for a minute. Just think for a second. That's special. That is special.
It's
The
Jadeja
first
on
game of the
flop watch.
season, he sacrificed himself to give the crowd what they wanted, which was a bit of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. You got to look at this from a slightly different angle, Ross. You can't look at it from your classic, your classic metrics, right? This is different.
This is tapestry. This is
Yeah,
art.
narrative, vibes.
I like it.
Yeah.
We should mention a couple of KKR performances that were very good. Narain, if we're talking about predictions that went wrong, Ross, I think you were very anti Narain in the preseason conversation. You said his bowling was past
it can't continue. It can't continue. Yeah, here he is. 44 for 18.
3 for
What is
13.
going on?
No, I mean the bowling. I mean, like all round is an amazing performance. I wasn't even talking about the batting. 13 runs on 4 overs, 3 wickets. Chakravarti back in it as well. Just a bit too good for them, I think. Should we take a break? Or does anyone have anything else to say on CSK?
No.
We'll take a break. And we'll come back. We'll be talking about RCB v Delhi Capitals.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. We're going to move on to RCB v Delhi Capitals. And before we do, we had a great message in the chat from Noisy Miner, who says, apart from Patarana, none of the players in the CSK's squad currently represents their country's T20 team. That pretty much explains the quality of the squad. And that's an amazing achievement when you've got a choice of all the players in the world to land on...
Surely Noor Ahmed represents Afghanistan.
And I think Rachin Ravindra probably does represent the Kiwis more often than not. But
don't let the truth ruin a good post, though.
It's still a pretty poor effort,
yeah.
I think, isn't it, from CSK to put together that lineup. Let's move on. Yep. RCB v Delhi Capitals. Maximus. What the fuck is going on with Delhi's kit? Talk to me about the game.
Well, I'll leave the kit to you guys. I'll focus on the game. But it was, well, who at this stage had penned in a top of the table clash at this stage in the IPL, and RCB facing off against Delhi Capitals, an unbeaten Delhi Capitals. Anyone have that? Anyone have that after DC beat LSG by 1 wicket on the opening? Anyone? No? Well, it happened, and things started pretty well for RCB. Phil Salt and Virat Kohli getting off to a blistering start, 61 for none, just shy of 4 overs, and then calamity, boys, calamitous running. Did Virat Kohli barbecue Phil Salt? Did Phil Salt barbecue himself? Who could say? But what happened is it all went a bit downhill from there. DDP, 1 of 8, not so good. And it was all just a bit slow in that middle period. A lot of credit to the Delhi Capitals bowlers for keeping things tight until the end, when Tim David did take Mukesh Kumar for a rather tasty final over and got things up to 163 for 7, which looked like a challenging score after 4 overs when Delhi were 30 for 3, but King Legend back in at 4. He did what only King Legend could do. Well, there are some other cricketers, but there aren't that many who could play an innings quite like this, I think. Rebuilding, anchoring the chase for 8 overs or so, and then cutting loose at the end to bring things to a nice, tasty finish. Tristan Stubbs helping out as well to get things over the line. He ended on KR Rahul, that is, 93 off 53. Having been about like 60 off 45, 50 at one stage, really put the afterburners on towards the end. And it was a properly impressive innings from him from a slightly iffy position for Delhi. And they march on. Delhi
Good
Capitals.
celebration as well from
4
King
from
Legend.
4. Yeah,
Good celebration.
it was good.
What's going on at Delhi, Ross?
Well, I thought the kit looks quite cool actually. The red and blue combo. It's like I just think it's quite good. The red pads in particular are really exciting.
I love coloured pads. I've always got time for coloured pads.
I still don't understand how this team works so well, but we said in the preview shows that King Legend had to be put full King Legend, right? He had to be his best version of himself and go full kind of, like, no, I'm here to hit runs and I'm here to only win for myself. And he's been bloody great so far. And this innings, there was rumours flying around that RCB said to him that we were going to go all out in the auction for you and then didn't bid for him. And so his celebration apparently is in response to not getting any bids from RCB and Delhi taking him, and then him pointing to the ground, being like, "This is my house now, Kimasabi," and it worked out very nicely.
I love a bit of Needle as well. Needle's good.
Yeah, and their bowling lineup is very, very useful. Like Vippy Boy, wherever Vippy Boys come from, brilliant, absolutely. Or just one of those people just you've thrown into the mixture, and he's doing really, really well. Kuldeep Yadav is a class above at the moment. If you look at some of the other bowlers as well, you'd say that Wrist Spin has struggled a little bit. You look at Rashid Khan struggling at the moment, Yuzi Chahal struggling as well. Kuldeep Yadav, not a problem.
Left arm wrist spin's having a good year. I would say.
Noor Ahmed. Is Noor Ahmed a wrist?
He's a lefty, yeah.
Yeah. Kuldeep, yeah. So maybe that's the future. We'll just get all the bowlers for left arm wrist spin.
That's England's. That's going to be England's next pathway. They've done, can you bowl 90 miles an hour? They've done, how tall are you? Next, it'll be left arm wrist spinners only. 5 left arm wrist spinners.
It could work. Max, RCB a little bit of an off day, but again, it wasn't too bad from them, was it? I mean, like they managed to muddle their way to a decent score, a few okay contributions. If Phil Salt isn't run out, could very much have been a different story in this match. Or had they taken just one more wicket, almost at any point in that innings, had they got the extra wicket they needed, suddenly it's Ashutosh.
I think
to be fair,
it looks
like it's 2 more wickets. They did 2 more wickets.
It looks convincing, doesn't it, for Delhi on paper, and that is basically down to KL Rahul and the way he batted, because it was always a bit closer than that. I think the start that RCB got was really impressive, and if Phil Salt isn't run out, you could probably add another 20 to that score easily. And the middle orders sort of failed a little bit. They found it a bit tough going, but I think Tim David's been a nice surprise this year for RCB. The move away from Mumbai has clearly done him some good, because he's looked a bit better. Maybe those smaller boundaries are just too small for a man of his strength, because there were a couple. I think there was a wide full toss from Mukesh in that final over that it dropped over the boundary, not by far, and you think maybe somewhere else that's just going down someone's throat. So a big fish in a little pond kind of vibe maybe, but no, it's
a big man in a small pond.
A big man in a paddling pool. So, yeah. But yeah, I think it's not. Yeah, you're going to lose games of cricket, right? Like T20 in particular, and there's nothing in this that was particularly concerning for RCB. I think they've got a lot about them in that batting lineup, and yeah, Hazelwood didn't take the wickets that he would have liked early on, but Mukesh Kumar did the not Mukesh,
Mukesh Kumar.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, the other Kumar, he did the job instead. But yeah, he had an off day. That'll happen. It's nothing terminal, right? It's just a couple of good performances here or there. Probably swung the game. And yeah, I mean, I'm quite impressed with how Delhi are turning up at the moment. They're looking like a confident outfit. It's good. It's nice to see. You don't get it that often, do you? With Delhi Capitals.
No, they had like a little golden era during the Dubai tournaments. When they lose the final a couple of years in a row. They definitely lost it once. They were a good team for a while.
Strong domestic core.
And then fell off a cliff, didn't they? I think it's probably fair to say. But they're back, and I'm going to be honest. I'm not fully buying it. I mean, like they've won their first 4 matches. They've won their first 4 matches, and they're probably going to make the playoffs. Like 10 matches, you got to win 4. Like it would be a bit of a cock up if they didn't make the playoffs from this point. But there's something that doesn't feel right about it. Maybe it's just that Delhi have been bad.
I think it's the pace bowling, isn't it? Like Mitchell Stark can be very, very expensive, and like Mukesh Kumar and Mohit Sharma, on their day they're pretty handy. On not their day, they can be quite bad. And you just look at the names, and it doesn't feel like that's a bowling lineup that's going to win them a tournament. That's for me what I think tempers it. But at the moment, they're performing really well, and they do have star power in Kuldeep, and Mitch Stark's been good this year, taking wickets, and that's what you want him. That's what he's there for. So,
yeah. I mean, I just need to mentally adjust up how good their bowling is. Like in my head, I'm looking at their games. Lucknow v Delhi. Lucknow aren't very good, but they should have lost that match, and they somehow win that match.
Can we still say that about Lucknow? Can we really still say that?
Yeah, they're sick.
Of course we can. Yeah. Sunrisers v Delhi. Sunrisers are bowled out for 163. At the time, we're all saying, "Oh, that's Sunrisers had an off day," and then they've had a few more off days. Their openers are the worst openers in the tournament this year, after being the best last year. So it's sort of all flipped round, or maybe second best. And then Narayan and Salt might have been a little bit ahead of Trapashek. Then they beat CSK. Everyone beats CSK. That doesn't count. And then RCB at the Chinnaswamy. There's a little bit of a hoodoo there, isn't there? Like we're not really sure. Are they
Hooda's playing there as well?
Who?
Let's move on from
that.
that.
A joke?
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't get that one. Write in the chat if you understand what Ross is talking about. Like RCB are at home. Like again, like I think
there's an asterisk next to a lot of these victories.
It's not a big asterisk. I mean, you've got to beat all these teams, and it's like you were saying, Max. It's T20 cricket. Everyone can beat everyone. It's not like none of those wins are a given. They have played well. They bowled particularly well. They're better than I thought they were at the beginning of the year, but I'm still not convinced they're like on for some sort of amazing.
Yeah, there are teams that win their first 4 games in an IPL.
Come back.
There are teams that win their first 4 games in IPL, and you look at them and you're like, this lot are shit hot. They're going to steamroller it. A bit like KKR last year.
Delhi.
And then with Delhi, you look at it and like, they're doing pretty well compared to what I expected. That's about the size of it, isn't it?
Maybe it's just Mitchell Stark is the magic potion.
Maybe
he won it for KKR last year.
Mascot Mitch.
Maybe he wins it for Delhi this year.
Could be. I hadn't thought about that. And then maybe next year he'll go back in the auction and someone will spend 35 crore on him just because he's a good mascot.
And win.
Look, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We've got one more game and a little look forward to the weekend.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
welcome back everyone to the Cricket Podcast. Gujarat v Rajasthan Royals is the last game from the batch we're going to be talking about today. Max, do you want to summarise the cricket?
Sure. Gujarat. So there's one rule with Gujarat, which is if one of their top three don't get you, one of the other ones will. And it was Sai Siddharthan's turn in this particular fixture, 82 off 53, with some, I think you could say, fairly useful cameos from a few other members of the side. Jos Buttler, Shahrukh Khan, Rahul Tewatia, Rashid Khan, all getting in on the act and having a bit of fun. And they, before you knew it, 217 for 6 up on the board and a pretty solid looking score. Rajasthan Royals, a couple of early wickets, pegged them back, but there was a brief moment when Sajnu Samson and Rian Parag were getting going where you thought maybe this could be on. But as you tends to see with this Rajasthan Royals side, the batting ends just a little bit early, and despite Shimron Hetmeyer scoring a nice 52, it all just falls off a cliff after that, and they fell in a heap, 159 all out in the end, and they were fairly well behind the 8 ball from the start of their chase, but you need depth when you're going over 200, and depth ain't what Rajasthan are bringing to the table this year.
No. Ross, big defeat for Rajasthan. He's muted himself in shame.
Yep.
I have, because my pink boys are struggling. It's fair to say, lads. If Jaiswal doesn't hit any runs, they lose. That's pretty much what happens. And it's very, very annoying. This Gujarat Titans team, I like them. I liked them since the start. I think they have got something about them. They've got some real winners. And it was nice to see the mascot hit some runs. Right, Rahul Tewatia has played every single game of Gujarat Titans history, right? Every single game. Sometimes we just don't see him at all in the games. They mention his name, but he just doesn't do anything, doesn't bowl anymore. But here he was, cracking on at the end.
It's probably nicely for the best, isn't it, that he doesn't bowl anymore, let's be honest.
And I mean, even Shahrukh Khan hit runs. So I can't even go in on him and saying, why is Shahrukh Khan playing? Why is Glenn Phillips not in this lineup? It's working for Gujarat at the moment. But Rajasthan, again, they just don't have the depth, I think. And Max, they're kind of building what you said. They just don't really have that, and you're relying on some interesting decision making, I think, in this lineup. But yeah, Gujarat's spin bowling department is very well stocked. Mohammad Siraj is having a good season. We know he blows hot and cold. This is one of his good seasons, which is dangerous for teams. And yeah, even Lottery Krishna, playing against his former franchise, pretty much has the best day of his IPL career for a long, long time and rips us apart.
Might have to go back and have a look at some of these, performances of players against their former franchises, because it feels like there's been quite a lot of good stuff going on. Mohammad Siraj ripped RCB to shreds, didn't he? Moeen Ali did it today. There's a lot of revenge going on.
The revenge arcs, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
King Legend.
King Legend.
So where does that leave them in the table? So Gujarat, top of the pops. I think it's 4 wins and 1 loss. Where are Rajasthan? Let me get it up.
Bit below. 2 wins, 3 losses.
Oh, 7th. Not good right now.
But, not a million miles out of it, right? They're 2 points behind RCB and KKR. KKR have played a game more. RCB have played the same number of games. Don't throw it all away just yet. It's not CSK.
No, but the more I look, every single time I look at Dhruv Jurel, I'm just like, that could be Jos Buttler. And regardless of people telling me Jurel might become the best player in the world, I'm just like, right now, I'd rather have Jos Buttler. Every day of the week.
Look, at least Hetmeyer batted and
yeah,
he got some runs. Was there? Look, I missed a little bit of the Rajasthan innings. Was there a little bit of controversy about the Rian Parag dismissal, Ross?
I have no idea, mate.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about it at all.
He's never happy about
there
winning
was it was a full delivery, sort of angling across him, and he was sort of like trying to open the face on it, and he hit the ground. There was a big noise, but he hit the ground.
Oh, I
and
do
he hit the
remember
ground
this,
as
yeah.
the ball was passing the bat, and he was fairly convinced that he didn't hit it. I think it was given, wasn't it, on the field? So
Yeah,
yes,
I do remember this. Oh, yeah,
I
it was
don't think you
bollocks.
could have overturned it, right? Like
was
there was a
bollocks.
spike, and
He's
the
hit
ball's
the
near the bat.
ground. Yeah, but it's bollocks. Like literally,
You can hit the ball on the ground. You can hit the ball on the bat. The bat can hit the ball on the ground at the same time.
Max.
I think the
you
fact
have
that he was so convinced that he didn't hit it did make it interesting. But
Yeah.
it was I don't know. It was
There's been a couple of bad days for the old VAR or DRS. A couple of bad days. Dhoni today. Can't believe I'm defending it, but there was clearly a spike. I don't know how they justify.
that was weird.
Rian Parag here, as LPN kind of says, the spike was before the ball was near the bat. Disgraceful.
But then you're not going to see the spike show up if it did hit the bat while it was hitting the ground, and like it.
Yeah. Right. Well, look, Max, I'm going to back all of Rian Parag's TikTok followers and say that he was harshly done by. So
yeah.
But anyway,
in a test match, we'd have the benefit of looking at it for half an hour before a decision is reached. But
we seem to spend so much fucking time on wide reviews. We're wasting all of our lives. Just get on with it. There was one.
Hey, they've got a line now.
It took 3.5 minutes. It took 3.5 minutes.
And not only that, we get for no balls and head height wides. We get to know the exact height and waist position of every cricketer in world cricket. How good is that? How exciting!
I feel like the waist's in the wrong place on those as well.
They're
like,
quite
I
high,
think you
isn't
need
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
it's
you do it
ridiculous.
by
Like,
the
it's
trousers?
Like no, it's like the
It's above the
person
waistband.
doing it. Yeah, like, they think everyone's just a little stick man with look. You know, children draw people with legs coming out of their head. Like that's what the umpire thinks is about. Look, there's not that much more to say about this game. Gujarat, we've talked about them on every show. Said they're good. We've talked about Rajasthan Royals' poor squad construction on every show as well. So go back and listen to a few of them if you're interested. Let's talk about some weekend cricket. Ross, I'm going to throw this one to you first of all, because you were questioning whether we can still say that Lucknow aren't very good. Tomorrow in the morning, they play the Titans. Mm-hmm. This is rubber meets the road time, I think, for that. Yeah.
But Gujarat Titans, David Miller was there for a couple of seasons. Revenge arc that Max is pushing on this show.
Okay. Yeah.
There is an issue. There's an issue afoot. One issue is definitely how good Nicholas Pooran is. For a guy who literally averaged like 9 over an entire season, the guy has turned into the best T20 batter in the world. Like, it is insane. Aidan Markram, Mitch Marsh, they're all hitting runs at the top of the order. Rishabh Pant's not even come to the party yet. Rishabh Pant is like still in that bloody car accident. He literally is nowhere to be seen. And yet his team are smashing it to bits. And I don't know what's in the water in Lucknow, but it is working when all of the logic in front of my eyes, because Shardul Thakur is their leading bowler, it's baffling to me that they're winning games of cricket, but they're hitting the runs. I think Gujarat might have a bit too much quality for them in terms of the bowling. I think that Rajasthan Royals bowling lineup is better than Lucknow's, and they hit 217 against them just in the last game. I think that if Sai Sudarshan, Shubman Gill, or Joss Butler, I think there could be more danger afoot for them. So I'm thinking, what? Shardul Thakur's going to rip it. He's going to rip through the top order.
10. Yeah, like it's going to happen. They're going to fail once this year, and if they're going to fail to anyone, Shardul Thakur's name is right up the top of that list. I reckon. He'll still end up with figures of 3 for 48, but at one point, Gujarat Titans are going to be like 12 for 3, and they'll never recover from it. Like Max, Sunrisers Hyderabad. The Punjab Kings. That's the afternoon game tomorrow.
Do or die for Sunrise, isn't it? If they've got any hopes of doing anything in this tournament, which are looking pretty slim after 4 defeats on the bounce, they got to win this one. And to be fair, I think they've probably got they've got a shout, haven't they? Punjab have been pretty decent, but they're Punjab, aren't they? So they've got something in them, and I feel like it's going to be the sun rising in this game. I've got no reasoning for that other than SRH cannot possibly continue to be this bad with that batting lineup.
I'd like to see Punjab play a couple of different players.
But sorry, Marco Janssen comeback arc. So there's that.
Mm.
Yeah, I changed my mind. Marco Janssen hat trick.
I reckon this will be it's Punjab, isn't it? This is the game where Sunrisers go off, get their season back on track. They're bowling. I don't know if it's been fab this year, Punjab. So it could happen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. On Sunday there are another 2 games. Full weekend of games. No festivals.
Finally.
No police orders being, dictating that matches should be played on a Tuesday or anything like that. So normalcy has returned. Rajasthan v RCB. All the R's. Ross. 11 o'clock Sunday morning. Turnover from Sunday brunch if you're in the UK. Could be a good ding dong. What do you reckon is going to happen?
My heart says Rajasthan Royals, but my head says RCB will put them to the sword, which is annoying. It's my analysis right there. What I'm really interested in is the carbon footprint and how much the teams are travelling between these games, because every single dot ball
are going to be clocking it up, aren't they?
Yeah. You've got a little tree that comes up that they're planting. Is that to offset all the carbon emissions from the jet setting?
Speaking of carbon emissions, CSK planted 1,098 trees.
Yeah, that's got to offset it, hasn't it? That has got to offset it. I don't know. It's quite uneven as well. There's like a few teams that have to travel quite a lot more. Like I think Sunrisers have got comparative. They travel like half the distance of one of the teams at the top of the table.
Well, I mean, for Rajasthan, it's largely self-imposed, isn't it? Because they play all over the place for no clear reason.
Yeah. And Max, Sunday afternoon, Delhi v Mumbai.
That's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
That's a proper Sunday afternoon game, I think.
It is, isn't
Top
it?
of the table v Bumrah. Who's going to win?
Yeah, well, that is big, isn't it? Bumrah obviously came back in the last game and wasn't quite there yet, but not surprising because he's been out for the best part of 4 or 5 months. So chance for Bumrah to bring things back. I don't know. I like Delhi. I like Delhi for this still. I think it might be a bit questionable to go for a 5 from 5 when you're coming up against Mumbai Indians and their star-studded lineup with the returning Jasprit Bumrah, but Tristan Stubbs will see at Mumbai Indians for a bit.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. He's your man.
I'm liking the revenge season, Max. I'm absolutely here for it.
Yeah. I quite fancy Mumbai for that one. They've come close in a few games. Mumbai, they're much better than a team that are 1 and 5. Like if you look at the teams that have won 1 match at the bottom of the table,
they won on 5.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
They've had the performances to have won at least 2 more matches, I would say, but they've just sort of not finished games off that they probably should have.
Yeah, and you can see that their net run rate is almost 0. And when you've lost 4 games and won 1, that tells you that it's been pretty close.
Yeah, so I fancy a little bit of Mumbai action there. Boys, I think that's the end of the pod. Any final words before we wrap up?
No.
R.I.P. CSK.
RIP CSK. Sign up to be a Patreon, patreon.com/cricketpod. The show is made possible by those guys, and you can be one. So do it. Bye-bye.